So today, we're going to go over 3 more case studies today. Right now, I'm dealing with an ERP implementation of SAP, a big ERP system that is going to be enterprise-wide at Boeing. Now, if you can comprehend at all the size of a Boeing, it's just hard to comprehend. We have a site in 48 of the 50 states in the United States, as well as multiple countries. You know that we would then deal with a lot of different currencies. So if we're dealing with a European vendor, we're going to be dealing with the euro. If we're dealing with the UK, we'd be dealing with the pound sterling. If we're dealing with Japan, which we do a lot, we're dealing with the yen. So you can see that there's a challenge with selling and buying products all over the world in various different currencies. Well, how do you keep all that straight? Well, current ERP systems, the SAP system, for example, does deal with a lot of different currencies. And the way that you deal with not losing money when you're selling in other currencies is to do a thing called hedging. So let's look at our first issue. Problems with finance exchange. FX is finance exchange. So here we've got an exchange problem. Let's say I'm selling or buying a product to Japan. I've got an exchange issue between the dollar and the yen. So with an exchange of the dollar and the yen, I then need to make sure that when I sell the product over there, I know how much it's worth in dollars and translate that then to yen in order to pay the bill out accurately. Now, if there's a difference, let's say I'm on net 30 terms and with our supplier in Japan, okay? So I sell them a product and in 30 days they pay the bill. How do I make sure that I'm still getting, let's say, $100 worth of yen 30 days after I've sold it to them and priced it? Well, there's no guarantees that the yen is going to be worth the same today as it is 30 days from now. And the difference in the value of the yen versus the dollar with that 30-day spread of time is a problem of risk. Here we have an example. Here we've got an example between Singapore, Germany, and Denmark. So Denmark is on the euro, and Germany is on the euro, and Singapore is on Singapore something dollar probably. So here we've got a product moving across these companies, these sections of the company. And the example basically is that Singapore sells some components to Denmark, who assembles those components and then sends those components on as a completed assembly to Denmark. So here the situation is that we have 100 SGD, and so we ship the products, and 20 SGDs translates to 13 euros. And we get a credit for the products, and we are losing 2 SGD in the translation there. The next thing is that Denmark receives it, and they receive it for the 13 euros here. And the 13 euros translate into DKK, okay, 97 of them, and they lose 1 euro in the process, okay? So every time you translate it, now it could go both directions. Here it's showing a potential loss every time they take that 30 days to pay the bill. And so in taking that 30 days to pay the bill, you get a potential loss if the value of the currency declines against your main currency. Now, it could go the other direction, like I said. I could gain 2 SGD, or I could gain a euro in the process. But what companies will then do is an exotic sort of process called hedging, where they will set aside 20 SGD, for example, and set aside the 20 SGD to make sure that when they're all done, if we only get 18 SGD for that, then the other 2 is already sitting in the treasury and we can pay the bill. let's go to an example if we use blockchain. Now, remember, blockchains always have a coin or a token involved in the blockchain. Well, if you do it as a corporate treasury coin, so we have a corporate coin. So what happens is the treasury says that this coin is worth, let's say, $1 for a coin. And so now when we switch and change, here's an example for Boeing. We have Boeing Distribution Services. It's our group that sells parts to our people who have bought planes, either military or commercial, or even NASA for that matter, for the satellites. They buy spare parts. Okay, but we have warehouses in Germany, Amsterdam, the UK, Japan. We have places all over the world, of course, especially in the United States too. So what happens if we take $100 worth of product and ship it off to our warehouse in the UK, for example, and the value of the pound sterling goes down, but the price is fixed. Once we get paid for that, there's a differential between the cost that we sent it over there for and the price that we got for it afterwards. But not so if we use a corporate coin and do it on a blockchain. So here's that same example of Singapore, Germany, and Denmark. So let's say we've got a product that is worth 100 corporate coins. We ship it to Germany to be assembled into a product. It's still worth 100 corporate coins. And when Germany ships it off to the next place, it's still worth 100 corporate coins in Denmark. And so what happens is it goes from 100 corporate coins here, and then there's only one exchange. So it doesn't go from Singapore's currency to Germany's currency, and then from Germany's currency to Denmark's currency. It stays in one single currency, which is the amount that the Treasury has established. And so it doesn't go changing hands to all of these different currencies. And so the corporate coin stays stable all the way out to when they finally do sell it, the product, at whatever exchange rate the corporate coin and the DKK is, which at the time will be pegged straight to the dollar. So even if there is a time lag, they still get the same amount of money for it that they would have got had they sold it the very first day. So it improves liquidity as money remains in the company. In other words, you're not having to send money overseas. You're not having to move money around. You evaluate everything on the blockchain as a corporate coin. The time gap between transactions is reduced since there's no need for a bank as an intermediary between the transactions. So the corporate coin flows right along with the product. So if I have my warehouse in Miami shipping their product to the UK, it's going to go straight to the UK, and very quickly the blockchain moves that corporate coin right with the product. And I don't have to then ship money through, the UK doesn't have to send money back to the US and paying for the product that they've just received, because both of those entities are owned by, let's say, the Boeing company. The corporate coin just shifts from one asset location to another asset location, and the value of that product stays the same on the books. And so the exchange bank fees are minimized. Bank fees can be horrendous. They can take 5 to 10% of the amount of money when they're transferred. And so the exchange rate risk becomes significantly easier. You don't have to do that complicated hedging that you currently have to do, and your exposure to foreign currencies is limited since all the transactions are settled with corporate coins instead of exchanging fiat currency on a per transaction basis. Okay, so when you talk about corporate finance, having a blockchain that has its own native currency is an incredible benefit to a corporation, especially when they're international. in scope.